Hello dear students, welcome back to our channel Study Shark. I hope that you all are fine and doing well in studies as well. Dear students, today we are going to start a new chapter in economics, that is globalization and the Indian economy. Dear student, this chapter is very interesting chapter. Globalization is not a new term for all of you, because in history you have already read the chapter that is the making of a global world. Now globalization, what does this term refer to? When we talk about globalization, bachche, so globalization means when we are globally connecting, when we are connecting people globally, and when the people across the worlds are connected globally using some or the other medium, this particular whole this ideology, or you can say this whole process, is called globalization, connecting basically. So you can say that globalization is interaction or interlinking between people of various countries, of various region, various communities, various people who begin to who belong to various different small communities, small parts of the world. When we are interlinking with them, when we are connecting with them, when we are making, we are doing trade and we are doing all these things with them, these process contributes to the term that is called globalization. Okay, now and the Indian economy. Now Indian economy, why? See, we as a Indian, what we should study, we should study about our economy only. So that's why globalization and what impact it has on Indian economy, this is the whole ideology of this particular chapter. Okay, so this is a very interesting chapter. We are going to study this thoroughly by reading each and every NCERT line. I'm going to explain you each and every NCERT line so that it becomes very easy for you people to grasp the concept that is in this chapter. Okay, so I'm not going to do any delay. I'm directly going to start this chapter. And since you know that we have our new reprint books, so we need to follow these books only. So we'll follow this book, and since I have an old book, so I'll read from my old book only. But some part of book that I have to read from this PDF only, that I am going to read from this PDF only, because there is some numbers change there, maybe there is change in the examples. Okay, so we are going to see all these things. Okay, so let's start this chapter. Okay, let's read. As consumers in today's world, some of us have a wide choice of goods and services before us. The latest models of digital cameras, mobile phones, and television made by the leading manufacturers of the world are within our reach. So you know very well, due to globalization, everything that we want, television se leke whatever things, mobile phones, cars, latest models and new models, top hi-fi quality cars, high good companies car, all these things are accessible to us. Why? Because of globalization, isn't it? Now see next what is written. Every season new models of automobiles can be seen in Indian roads. Gone are the days when Ambassador and Fiat were the only cars on Indian road. Today the only cars Acha, today Indians are buying the cars produced by nearly all the top companies in the world. A similar explosion of brands can be seen for many other goods, from shirts to television to processed fruit juices. So you know very well that now those days are gone when Indian people were not accessible to other brands, other top brands of the world. Now the Indians can also buy all the top brand items all over the world, through all over the world. Why these all things are possible? Because there is globalization. Globalization is what? The interlinking of people through trade and all these things, isn't it? So people are bringing, there's now see, there is lot of items, there are a lot of items that are imported from USA, that are imported from America. So we take that item in our country, and then we take that item, and our consumers, our people of the country, they buy those items, and yes, they are accessible to all these things. They are able to buy all the top brands, all the they are able to buy the goods produced by the top brands in the world, isn't it? Now see next what is written. Such wide-ranging choice of goods in our markets is a relatively recent phenomenon. You wouldn't have found such a wide variety of goods in Indian market even 2 decades back. 2 decades back means Decade means, what is the meaning of decade, बच्चे? Decade means 10 years. Okay, and 2 decades back means 20 years back. Okay, you wouldn't have found such a wide varieties of goods in Indian markets even 2 decades back. In the matter of years, our markets have been transformed. In a matter of years, yani in a few years only, our market has transformed. Now see what is written. How do we understand these rapid transformations? What are the factors that are bringing about these changes, and how are these changes affecting the lives of people? We shall dwell on these questions in this chapter. Now, the questions which are given here, bachche, these are very important, and they can directly come in your board examination. Dear student, what CBSE does? CBSE does these things only. There are questions which are given inside your NCERT books only, in between your NCERT books pages. But what we people do, we don't focus on those questions. See what is written. How do we understand the rapid transformation? Means this is the first question, that what do you mean by rapid transformation? Okay, how rapid transformation occurred in the world? These questions can be framed, isn't it? Then next is, what are the factors that are bringing about these changes? This is another question. And how are these changes affecting the lives of people? This is another question. Okay, so these questions answer, you should be prepared. Okay, for these questions. Now the next subtopic that we have in this chapter is subtopic. I will not say subtopic, it's topic only. Okay, so production across countries. Until middle of the 20th century, production was largely organized within countries. What across the boundaries of these countries were the raw material, food stuff, and the finished product. Now you know this very well, dear students, that in the middle of the 20th century, 20th century means 20th century, 20th century. What is the meaning of 20th century? 20th century means this century only. Which century is, occurring from 2000, and still it is continuing, isn't it? So this century. So in the middle of this century, bachche, production was largely organized within the countries, and what across the boundaries of these countries were the raw materials. Now, what are raw materials? See, if you remember this very well. So there are many items which are imported from, which we import from other countries, and there are some items that we export, isn't it? So the countries like Britain, USA, they need Indian spices. So these raw materials, there is trading of these raw materials, and these are items, isn't it? Then we have food stuff, then there are finished product. So these are some of the materials which are crossed through the boundaries of the countries. Means these items are basically these items are the source of trade for these countries, isn't it? Now next, what is written? See, colonies such as India exported raw materials and food stuff and imported finished goods. So do you see, now India was famous to export the food stuff and the raw material. What were the raw material? Like indigo. These were exported from India only. Then if we talk about spices, because you know very well that these English people, the people who are living in the Britain, and these all people who are living in the USA and other side, these people, bachche, they do not have very good command in spices and all these food stuff. So that's why they basically import these items from India. Okay, so India is known for exporting these raw materials, and these food spices and all these food stuff, whereas India is known to import the finished good from other parts of the country, like machinery and whatever is needed. India used to import these things. Okay, now what is written? Trade was the main channel connecting distant countries. Now trade was the main channel connecting distinct countries. Distinct countries means different countries, and the countries which are different, isn't it? The different countries. Now what was the factor that was connecting these countries? Was the trade. Because when they were trading, when they were exporting, importing the items from their country, so they were actually, what they are doing, they are communicating with each other. So there is a communication, and when there is a communication, there is a connection between these countries, okay, which lead to the connection. Okay, the next is, this was before large companies called multinational companies. This was before large companies called multinational companies, multinational corporations. Okay, we call them multinational corporations also, and we call them multinational companies also. So both things are correct. Now see, emerged on scene. ठीक है, this was before large companies called multinational companies, multinational corporations emerged on the scene. MNC is a company that owns or controls production. ठीक है, multinational corporation बच्चे, what is this? This is a type of company that owns or controls the production in more than one nation. The name itself is suggesting us. What is written? Multinational company. Multinational cooperation. I am again and again saying company. I am very sorry for that. But that is multinational cooperations. So the name itself is suggesting us that multi means different. Okay, different types of different countries. Okay, so these countries do not trade in only one country. They do not open their factories for just one country. They open it in different countries. So basically their goods are supplied to different multiple countries, isn't it? So MNC is a company that owns or controls production in more than one nation. You have to remember this definition. MNC is a company, MNC means multinational cooperation, is a company that controls or owns production, you know very well, production of goods in more than one nation. Okay, multinational set up offices and factories for the production in regions where they can get cheap labor and other resources. So obviously, what is the need of every company? When we open the company, our main objective is to maximize profit, okay, and minimize the loss. So these companies also tend to take resources, they just want cheap labor and other resources. Cheap. Why they want other facilities also that are promoted, that basically is promoting their profit, isn't it? So that's why they do very careful selection of these things. Now this is done so that the cost of production is low and MNCs can earn greater profits. So this is done so that the cost of production is low. Now when the cost of production will be low, so obviously they can reap high profits, isn't it? And what is the need of every multinational cooperation company? To reap high profits, isn't it? Because see, if the companies will reap high profits, obviously they will earn more and they can give high salary to their people also who are working in their company, isn't it? So that is the general need and you all are aware of that. Okay, so consider the following example. Now there is example that is given to us. So spreading of production by an MNC. MNC is multinational cooperations. Okay, so you have to remember this definition, bachche. Okay, multinational cooperations. Multinational cooperation is a company that controls or own production in more than one nation. Just this definition you have to learn, and you have to not learn also, you already know this definition. Okay, you are learning this definition, you are seeing in the television, everywhere you are seeing about MNC. So MNC is not a new term for all of you. MNC is very easy going, very general term for all of you, because you all are seeing that in your environment. Okay, in television or some or the other source you are learning these things. So there is no need to learn this, just you have to see what it is and you have to write it in the examination. Okay, so with in SST examination, it is not about that you have to basically write all the things. The thing is that how much you are understanding and are you able to apply your understanding in your examination, because question can come in any form. The thing is that are you able to make the points at the right time, at the right moment? Do you have that capability of making points? Isn't it? This is the case. So spreading of production by an MNC. A large MNC producing industrial equipment. A large MNC producing industrial equipment. So a large MNC means a large multinational cooperation company that is producing industrial equipment. Industrial equipment could be any type of machinery or anything else. Designs its products in the research centers in United States. So it designs its product in the research center in the United States. Okay, then it is given, and it then has the component manufactured in China, or the components that are used, that are manufactured from the China. These are then shipped to Mexico and Eastern Europe, where the products are assembled and the finished goods are sold all over the world. See, very nice example this is given. So there is a large MNC company. MNC means multinational cooperation company, which is producing industrial equipment. Now the research of design, and see what is written, design its product, all the design of product and all these is done in research center in United States, isn't it? And then bache, the components of manufacturing, then the components are manufactured in China. Components are manufactured in China, then these are shipped to Mexico and Eastern Europe for assembling and for making for you know and the finished goods which are produced in China, they are shipped to Mexico and Eastern Europe. They are assembled there and then they are sold to all parts of world. Now why this is done? There are several reasons, and MNCs do these things because in order to reap their high profits. Now why they are bringing their finished goods in Europe and Mexican region? The reason behind is so that they can ship the items very easily to different parts of world, because Mexico and the Eastern Europe lies in that part of world where it is where the products can be shipped to different part of worlds very easily, in different countries very easily. So they are like epicenter of the that particular area, isn't it? So now see, meanwhile the company's customer care is carried out through call centers located in India. And in India the call centers are located and the customer service or these all services are carried out in India. Customer service, you know very well that you book a gas when you call a gas helpline number in which you book a gas, isn't it? So what you do when you call in that number, so what comes, there is a person, there is a AI which says that if you want to talk in Hindi or English, please uh, click on this number. Then if you want to if you have this problem, click on this number. If you want to talk to some person, click on this number. So when you click on this number and you go through this process, so you find that there is a person who talks with you, who deals with your problems and who solves your problems, isn't it? So these are basically done through call centers. There are different call centers where call is made, where you make call, and these customer care customer the persons or the people who are present in these customer care centers, they assist you, okay, with your problem, isn't it? So now see, you can see there is customer care, how these all people are sitting there in India and they are carrying they are doing their job. So basically bache, you must have seen that movie. That movie was Dream Girl, okay, which is Indian Bollywood movie. And you must have seen there that there Ayushmann Khurrana has played a very beautifully he has explained the concept of call centers with in a humorous way, basically, you can say. So that was a very good picture. I really liked it, and I think that you people also have the same review about that picture. So let's keep that picture aside and let's move into our topic again. Let's come into our topic again. So in this example, the MNC is not only selling its finished products globally, but more important, the goods and the services are produced globally. Very important. So in this MNC means multinational corporation. Again I will tell you, again and again I will tell you the this what we say, full form of MNC. The reason behind, I just want you people to learn this full form because it can come in MCQ. Very easy type of question, and the people who do not learn these definitions, do not learn these full form carefully, they tend to lose marks in their examination in these types of silly 1 marks questions. So I don't want you people to lose these single 1 marks also. So that's why I'm again and again I'm again and again insisting you people learn this definition. I'm again and again repeating this thing, okay. So the most important thing is that goods and services are produced globally, means these are produced globally. You can see now what is done. The design of product is made in research centers in USA, United States, and then you can see that the products are manufactured in the components of that product are manufactured in China. Then lastly, they are assembled and the finished goods are shipped to all parts of world through Mexico and Eastern Europe, isn't it? So you can see that goods and services are produced globally. As a result, production is organized in increasingly complex ways. Okay. So the production across the world, production process is divided into small parts and spread out across the globe. Okay. In the example, China provides advantage of being chief manufacturing location. Mexico and Eastern Europe are useful for closeness to the market in US and Europe. India has highly skilled engineers who can understand the technical aspects of production. That's why बच्चे call centers are India. Call centers are in India because Indian people could understand what is the technology behind that particular product, and they could assess the people who are facing the problems by understanding what problem is occurring in their product. Like if there is a washing machine which is, has its design, design of that washing machine is carried in United States, and the components are manufactured in China, and that machine is finally shipped to all parts of world in through Mexico and Eastern Europe. So again, when in the call centers in India, why there are call centers in India? Because Indian people could understand the functioning of that machine. They could understand the problems that a customer can face while using that machine, because they're technically very strong. So that's why they have skilled engineers which can understand technical aspects of production. It also has educated English speaking youth who can provide customer care services. So again, India also has educated English speaking youth. So English is not a very difficult language. You can easily learn it, isn't it? And we can see in India also, every child knew English, and and I'm hoping the same. Okay, so English, we have educated English youth, because of which we can provide a very good customer care service in India, isn't it? Now next is, and all this probably can mean 50 to 60% cost savings for an MNC. So through all these things, what MNC is carried out, MNC is carrying out these things. You know very well what MNC is doing. MNC is doing its product design in USA, and then it is manufacturing the components in China. Then finally, the finished goods are assembled and sold to all parts of world through Mexico and Eastern Europe. So these things, the process that are carried out by MNC, and finally the call centers in India to assess the problems faced by the people. So these things are basically helping MNCs to save 60 to 50% of cost of production. So when their cost of production is saved, so obviously they will gain profit, they will reap profit. So that's why these MNC companies are highly profitable. So the advantage of spreading out production across the borders of multinationals can be truly immense. Truly immense means truly large. Now see, we have done this also. Okay. Now next is this case study is given to us. So we'll quickly see this question what is given. Complete the following statement to show how production process and garment industry is spread across the country. The brand tag says made in Thailand, but they are not Thai products. We dissect the manufacturing process and look for the best solution in each step. We are doing it globally. In making garments, the company may, or for example, get cotton fiber from Korea. See, this is very important. See, maybe the manufacturing is done in Thailand and the product is taken from Korea. So these multinationals sometimes they put the tag that okay, this product is made in Thailand. So maybe the manufacturing is done in Thailand. Maybe the product is taken from the Korea. So that's not a new thing. You people already have learned about that thing, that multinational companies, they spread across the world, spread globally, so that they can minimize their cost of production and can reap high profits. Okay. Now interlinking production across the countries. So in general, multinational companies, multinational corporations set up production where it is close to markets. Now obviously these companies will try to put the production in that area where they are close to markets. Reason behind, because they want to sell their products quickly, and when they sell their products very quickly and as fast as their products will be sold out, they will be more profitable, isn't it? So that's why. So what is written? Where there is skilled and unskilled labor available at lower cost. Now if the labor, skilled laborers and unskilled laborers are available in low cost. So this is the another very good thing for MNCs. So they will again save their cost of production, isn't it? So next, what is written? And where the availability of other factors of production is assured, like there is a good environment for production of goods which MNC want to produce. Then there are other factors also which affect different things, like their tax is very less. Okay, so there are many factors. So they look, MNCs basically look after these factors to basically minimize their cost of production as as less they can do. Okay, as low they can do. Okay, they do these things, and so that they can reap high profits. Again, the same reason I'm giving you again and again. So in addition, MNC might look for government policies, and that look for MNCs might look for government policies that look after their interests. You will read more about policies in later in the chapter. So later in the chapter you will read about different policies. Don't worry. Right now you are reading about what they basically MNCs do and how the globalization is affecting economy. Okay, and globalization is affecting economy in very in immense way, or you can say in very powerful way. Because what is the importance of globalization? If globalization is not if globalization was not present, or if countries would not be connecting with each other, so it would be very difficult for us as a people to make good profit and to grow our economy. So it's very important. Okay, globalization. So having assured themselves of these conditions, MNCs set up factories and the office for production. So again, what we need for producing things, we need factories where we produce goods, isn't it? And offices for production. The money that is spent to buy assets such as land, building machines, and other equipment is called investment. Yes. So when you basically the money that is given, or money that is put on these things, like on buying the land, because you want to set up factory, you want to set up office, you need to buy land, you need to buy other essential resources, you need to take the help of contractor, and you have to paint the building, whatever the things, in whatever the thing you are putting the money, you are making buildings, you are taking lands, you are buying the machineries and other equipment, these all things, when we put money in all these things, this is called investment. Now these companies first they make investment, and after when the customer buy that product, so they gain profits. So like this they earn. Okay, so this is their way of earning, and you people are already aware of that, because you are in class 10th and you already know how they are making profits, isn't it? So there is no need to explain these things, because these are very small things. Next, investment made by MNCs is called foreign investment. Now foreign investment, MNCs, multinational companies, again they are spread across different parts of world. So whatever investment they will make, that is known as foreign investment, isn't it? Now any MNC is made with the hope that these assets will earn profits. Obviously when they are putting investment and they are investing on these resources, so there is a tendency that they will think this only, that these things in which we have invested, they will reap high profits in the future terms, isn't it? So now next, see what is written. But the most common route for MNC investment is to buy up local companies and then to expand the production. Very important. See what is written. The most common route for MNC. What is the most common route for MNC? Question can frame. We can frame the question easily, isn't it? MNC and it's from these statements. That statement questions also come in examination. That statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is wrong. Essay questions are also made from these types of sentences. Okay, so you have to be very careful in this case. But the most common route for MNC investment is to buy up local companies and then to expand the production. Okay, so what they do, they buy the local companies and then they expand the production. Expand the production means they spread their production across the world. MNC with huge wealth can quite easily do this. Huge wealth, how with huge wealth? The reason behind, if they are having lot of wealth, so they will very easily they can buy the different local companies, because that companies, in order to buy the local companies, they need money, isn't it? When someone is selling his or her company, so obviously he or she will charge very uh, big amount. And if these are very wealthy multinational corporations, they can easily buy these things and they can expand their production. Then next is to take an example, Cargill Foods, a very large American MNC, has bought over smaller Indian companies such as Parak Food. Acha, Parak Food. Okay, Parak Food. Okay, Parak Food has built a large marketing network in various parts of India. So Parak Food or Parak Food, whatever you say, okay. So Parak Food, whatever this is. So this is, I have not I have not heard the name of this agency or whatever the company it is. Indian company, smaller Indian company like Parak Foods. I have not heard about it, but maybe you people must be knowing about this particular company, this Indian company. So you can just tell me about this company in the comment section. Okay. So this is also the part of Cargill Food. Cargill Food is a very large American MNC. Very large American MNC. MNC, what is MNC? Multinational Cooperation. So Cargill Food was a very large American multinational cooperation, and it bought several Indian local companies such as Parak Foods, also to expand their production. Okay, and to build a large marketing network in various parts of India where its brand was well reputed. Also, Parak Food had 4 oil refineries whose control has now shifted to Cargill. Okay. Cargill is now the largest producer of edible oil in India, with the capacity to make 5 million pouches daily. So that is very huge amount, and Cargill Food is able to achieve this. Wait, huh? This page is shuffled. I'm just going in the page. Yeah. In fact, many of the top MNC have wealth exceeding the entire budgets of the developing governments. So they have wealth which is more than the budget of the developing countries government. So you can assume that how much wealth these MNCs have. Okay, then next, what is written? With such enormous wealth, imagine the power and the influence of these MNC. Obviously, since they have lot of wealth, so they are able to buy they are able to buy the local companies, and they are able to expand their productions. Okay, so there is another way in which MNCs control production. Now, what is the another way? This was one way. Now, the question could be framed that what are the several ways through which MNCs can control production, and you have to write these points. 5 points you have to write for every question. Isn't this is a general way of writing answers in SST? You have to write answers in points. There is no other case. And the person who will be able to write answers in most efficient way will score, very will score more marks. And children say that, ma'am, it's very difficult to form answers in SST in different points. But in general, it's very easy if you are connected to your society. What is social science? When we are social society, when we know about a society, and when we know about a society, then why you are afraid? Can't you frame a single sentence in English just in your own words? You don't need book for that. And the person who know his or her society very nicely could give SST examination without even reading the books. So the thing is how nicely you know the society. Okay, so large MNC in developed countries place orders for production with smaller producers. So now they place orders with smaller producers. Now what is the reason behind this? We will see. Okay. Garments, footwear, sport items are examples of industries where the production is carried out by the large numbers of small producers around the world, and these MNCs give them a platform to basically sell their products. Okay. So large number of small producers around the world. So the products are supplied to the MNC where which then sell these under their own brand names to their customer. These large MNCs have tremendous power to determine the place, quality, delivery and labor conditions for these distant producers. Now thus we can see that there are variety of ways through which MNCs can spread their production and interacting with local producers in various countries across the globe. By setting up partnership with local companies, by using the local companies for supplies, by closely competing them with the local companies or buying them up, MNCs are exerting a strong influence on production at these distant locations. As a result, production in these widely dispersed locations is getting interlinked. Very important thing, and these are the small concepts that we have read through different examples. Now okay, now just there are some questions which will quickly try to answer. So first, there is a case study that is given to us. Ford Motor, an American company, is one of the largest automobile manufacturers with production spread over 26 countries of the world. Ford Motors came to India in 1995 and spent rupees 1700 crores to set up a large plant in Chennai, near Chennai. Okay. This was done with collaboration with Mahindra and Mahindra, a major Indian manufacturers of Jeep and trucks. By the year 2017, Ford Motors was selling 88,000 cars in Indian markets, while the another 1,81,000 cars were exported from India to South Africa, Mexico, Brazil, United States of America. In recent years, Ford company stopped producing cars for selling in India, but export cars and car engines on the small scale to other countries. Okay, so Ford, already you are aware of this term. You must have seen the ad also of Ford, isn't it? This is a very renowned automobile company. So read the passage and on the left and answer the question. What would you say a Ford Motor is an MNC? Why? So as you can see, Ford of Motors is MNC because it is linked with 26 countries in the world. And again, what it is doing? It is you must have seen one thing here in the paragraph that Ford Motor was doing its collaboration with Mahindra, isn't it? So this also suggests us that Ford Motor is MNC only because first of all it has connection across several countries in the world. Secondly, it is collaborating with different smaller brands in different countries, like it was collaborating with Mahindra, isn't it? So this is suggesting us that Ford Motors was indeed a MNC. Then next is, what is foreign investment? How did Ford Motors invest in India? So foreign investment, very well, when MNCs, the investment made by MNCs in different countries is known as foreign investment. Okay, and investment, very well, for buying land, buildings or any other machinery, when the money is given in these things, so this is known as investment. So next, how much did Ford Motor invest in India? So very well that Ford Motor came in India 1995 and spent rupees 1700 crores to set up large plant in near Chennai. So these 1700 crore was the investment, isn't it? And okay. Yeah. So the 1700 crore investment was made. Okay, बच्चे. Next is by setting up their production plants in India, MNCs such as Ford Motors tap the advantage not only of large markets and that countries such as India provide, but also the lower cost of production. Explain the statement. Then also the lower cost of production. How? This I had explained you very well. See, bachche, when they come in India, when they spread their production in India, so what happens? When they produce, they are seeing different favorable conditions, isn't it? So they are producing in India. Maybe the reason behind is that India is providing them very large market. So when the market is very large, so the people who are living in India will tend to buy those cars, and when they will buy those cars, again the company will be benefited, company will get profits, isn't it? So lower cost of production. How low cost of production, bacche? Because the profit that is reaped in the India is very large, and cost of production is very less. How cost of production is very less? Because this Ford Motors combining with different other it is collaborating with different other local brands in India also. I will not say local brand, also some of the renowned brand in India like Mahindra. So again it is when it is collaborating means they are little bit they are sharing their money also. So again they will decrease their low cost of production. Then secondly, Ford Motor is not only linked to India, it is linked to different parts of country. So maybe there are some manufactured components that Ford Motor is exporting from different countries, isn't it? So again it is lowering down the cost of production. This I have explained you very well. If you have skipped the video and you are directly coming in this part, then bachcha, this would definitely become little difficult for you people. But if you have studied the chapter line by line, this question is very easy for those persons, okay, those people. Why do you think the company wants to develop India as a base of manufacturing car components for its global operations? Why? This is a very interesting and competency based question. Discuss the following factors: the cost of labor and other resources in India, the presence of several local manufacturers who supply auto parts to Ford Motors, the closeness to large number of buyers in India and China. तो बच्चे देखो, इंडिया में why the companies coming in India, and yeah, the question is very interesting, that why do you think company wants to develop India as a base of manufacturing car components for its global operation? Why? See, because manufacturing term has come. So obviously the cost of labor and other resources in India, they are very cheap. We get skilled and unskilled workers both in India in very low prices. And when they're having these skilled and unskilled workers in India at very low prices, so obviously this is very easy to understand that these companies would be leading high profit, isn't it? Because the cost of production will decline, cost of production will become less. How it will become less? Because we get unskilled and skilled laborers and other resources like land etc in India at very low prices. Since we are getting them in very low prices, so obviously the cost of production would be less, and the cost of production would be less, again the company will reap high profits. So that was the case here. So next, what is written? Cost of labor and other resources in India. Okay, closeness to number of buyers in India and China could also be the answers, but but we can answer why it would be also answer. Okay, we have to consider, we have to discuss the following factors. Yes, so I was thinking that we have to choose one factor. So most appropriate is cost of labor and other resources, and then second is closeness, and third is the presence. Okay, but since we have to discuss them, so I'll discuss with you. So cost of production, labor and other resources, I've already explained you. Second is the presence of several local manufacturers who supply auto parts to Ford Motors. Obviously you are seeing there is a statement given in this passage, they given in this passage, that Ford Motor, this was done in collaboration with Mahindra, a major manufacturer of Jeep and trucks. So you can see here that this is also helping Ford Motors to get different types of manufactured parts, isn't it? You can see that Ford company stopped producing cars for selling in India, but export cars and car engines on small scale to other countries, because we have very good quality of it. Okay, when we have very good quality of these things, and again, why it is buying from India only? Because they are again very cheap. Okay, so next is closeness to large number of buyers in India and China. Again, see, you know very well that India has very large market, and since India is very close to China, so we when these Ford Motors, the companies, multinational companies, corporations like Ford Motors come to India, so this is very, you know, obvious that if they are entering in India, they are exposing themselves to Indian market as well, the Indian market, and also they are exposing themselves to China market also, because China is very close to India, so it is very easy for them to spread their production across China also. So this is very obvious thing, so you already know this, so I have discussed three parts. Then next is, in what way will the production of cars by Ford Motors in India lead to interlinking of the production? Okay. Interlinking of production, how? Interlinking of production, because Ford Motor is not only doing its business in India, it is linked to other 26 countries also, 25 countries also, 26 if I am assuming it is India. Okay, so let me read. So it is spread over, okay, ठीक है. So 26 countries in the world. Now you know very well that it is spread to other 26 countries also. So when it is coming in India also, and when it is, you know, producing its items in India also, basically it is linking India to other parts of country as well, because if it is producing in India, so other parts of country will also know this fact that Ford Motors are expand this business in India also. So yes, it is linking, interlinking of production. Definitely interlinking of production is there. And since production, why production is interlinked? Because in order to reduce the cost of production. And why to reduce the cost of production? The company wants to reduce the cost of production to reap high profits. You have to write the complete answer. Okay. In what ways is a MNC different from other companies? So MNC is different from other companies. You know very well that MNC is interlinked with different subsidiaries. So you will write the definition. Okay. What is MNC? MNC, multinational corporation, is a company. Is a company that controls or owns production in more than one nation. This is a complete definition. Then you will write how MNCs, they reduce the cost of production in order to reap the high profits. And then other companies, you know very well, they are stick to one region only, they do their business in one region only. So you can write the answers very easily in this question. Then next is, nearly all major multinationals are American, Japanese, or European, such as Nike, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Honda, Nokia, etc. Can you guess why? Nearly all major multinationals are American. So why? Because you know that these companies are very wealthy, and if they are wealthy, so what they will do? What they will do? Since these companies are very wealthy, so they will buy other local companies, and when they will buy other local companies, so they will expand their production. The reason behind why major multinationals are American, Japanese, or European, first of all, they have very advanced technology. Secondly, they are very wealthy. They can buy many different local companies as well, and when they will buy any other local companies from different types or different countries, so they will expand their production there also. Then what can be the other reason? The quality or the interlinking of production that they are doing. In one company, where one place they are doing their design, then in another country they are manufacturing, then in next country they are shifting, because in order to very easily shift that product, that finished good in different parts of world. When they are using these things, that's why they are becoming very good multinational companies. And why they are always American, Japanese, and European? The reason behind that, these MNCs are very wealthy, and they can easily buy local companies for expanding their production, expanding. Okay. So I hope that dear student, you understood the questions, and now we'll start from foreign trade, integration of markets. Okay.